Our children went through something that they should not have to go through. We just want to understand what happened on that day.
For months, parents of students at Evergreen High School have called for the police reports related to that shooting back in September. More than 7 months after the shooting, we now have those documents. Within the last 90 minutes, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office released a 664-page report detailing the response from law enforcement and reports from students. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. The 16-year-old shooter injured 2 students, as you know, at Evergreen High School on September 10th before taking his own life. 9 News investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn has been digging into these new documents, hundreds of them. Kevin, what have you learned so far?
Well, Phil and Kim, it's clear from these reports that the danger was over relatively quickly. The shooter was in an ambulance and on his way to a hospital before many officers arrived. But those officers had no way of knowing that and carried out a painstaking search of the school that took hours. The 16-year-old shooter critically wounded 2 students before multiple officers confronted him outside the school. He was armed with a pistol, and the reports made it clear that those officers tried repeatedly to get him to drop the revolver in his hand. "I'm going to put the gun down," the shooter said, then moments later shot himself. But the report details how in the confusion, no one knew if there were more victims or more shooters. The documents include varying descriptions of the shooter himself, including bus video showing a seemingly normal interaction with another student that morning. One teacher said he was lonely, sullen, and did not have many interactions with fellow students. But in the class period before the shooting, said he was engaged in class and gave no indications of what he was planning. One thing that was also clear, officers who went to the school that day knew that radio communication from inside the building were difficult. One officer said that after clearing a hallway, he found a door to the outside so that he could step out and report what he'd found during his search. We'll have much more on this detailed but heavily redacted report on 9 News at 5. Live in the newsroom, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
There's always so much to learn from these things, Kevin, and things to change. You can understand why parents have been kind of anxious to get more information.
Yeah, and we see some things in these reports, Kim, that tell us things learned from prior tragedies like this. There were students who, barricaded themselves, locked doors and stuff. There were other students who had easy access out of the school and fled and ran, got the heck away from there when they heard gunfire.
I bet you never really get a resolution, but you can get some clarity from the documents.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin.
1 person was killed, 5 others hurt after a shooting at the Mall of Louisiana, which is in Baton Rouge. Police say it started as an argument between 2 groups of people who opened fire on each other. Police say it was no longer an active shooter situation, though.
We found out looking through surveillance videos, it looks like it was kind of a targeted 2 groups of people got into an argument inside the food court and started shooting at each other. Unfortunately, there were some innocent people that were in the area that might have also caused some rounds.
Several people were taken to the hospital. Police there say at least 2 of them were taken into surgery pretty quickly. The police have taken 5 people into custody so far. Tonight, there is some hope for a deal between Sheridan teachers and the union.
The teachers have been on strike for the past 3 weeks, picketing outside their school as negotiations stalled. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause joins us live from the Capitol with the latest. Rachel.
Yeah, the Sheridan Education Association says their members have been here at the Capitol meeting with the district and the governor's office since 10 a.m. this morning, told they're not leaving until they have a deal and a plan to end this strike. Teachers here are hopeful that'll help them get back to the classroom soon. For the past 3 weeks, Sheridan teachers have been out of school and on the picket line.
April 1st, yes, and I would do anything to be back there right now.
Social studies teacher and Sheridan High librarian Jen Alavey can't believe they're still on strike.
32 years of teaching, I've never experienced anything like this. And Sheridan is a district with heart, and I feel like its heart is being ripped out.
For almost a year, educators have been working without a contract. They want their contract reinstated and the union expanded to include staff. Sheridan superintendent has previously said they've been at the bargaining table trying to find a deal. The strike carrying staff to the state capitol Thursday. Hopeful pressure from Governor Polis will help.
I hope so, and I hope that Dr. Thompson has a heart and understands why we are fighting for this so hard.
I've encouraged both sides to get to the table and just figure this out. If they can't figure everything out, that's fine. Let's just at least get the teachers back to the classroom, kids back to the classroom. Let's finish the year strong.
The union says in a meeting with members, the district, and the governor, they've been told no side leaves the meeting until they have a deal.
I never thought it would go up that far, honestly, but I'm happy if it gets us results.
Hope coming just in time. The union says the district informed educators health benefits will be cut off May 1st because of the strike, and they're on the hook to pay the district back for April, too.
And this is really scary for me because tomorrow I have to go in for a biopsy, and I don't know what the results will be, and I just got a bill. It's thousands of dollars that I have to pay out of pocket after 3 weeks of no pay, and if I have to do that, I will not have anything left. I will be in debt.
Jen says, scary as that is, she can't cross the picket line, hoping to return instead after striking a deal.
Really, that's what I want. I want to be there. I want to see my kiddos. I want to watch them graduate.
I reached out to the Sheridan School District multiple times for comment about this story and have not yet received a response. Those meetings are still underway. Teachers here have been waiting for hours, just hopeful that they'll soon have good news. Reporting live at the Capitol, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Rachel, this has been so frustrating just to follow as a reporter for you. But when you think of people and their lives, and then all the students and what an important time in the school year this is, it's frustrating.
Yeah, teachers here say they don't take these kinds of decisions lightly. They want to be back in their classrooms. They feel really badly that they're leaving the students in the lurch right now, the students they're seeing on the picket lines every day. And they say these are really painful decisions, but so important because they need to fight for themselves and for good working conditions so that they can teach students in the way that they know they deserve.
All right, we know you'll be following it. Thank you, Rachel. The city of Denver must pay $14 million to a group of protesters injured by police during the 2020 George Floyd protests. A judge made that ruling this week in federal court. They found the city liable after Denver police and other officers used unconstitutional force against a dozen protesters who sustained a range of injuries. A jury awarded the group millions in monetary damages back in 2022, but Denver officials appealed. The judge rejected the appeal and upheld the jury's verdict.
All right, let's take a live look outside right now. It doesn't look that bad, but we're talking about fire weather. We have been for the better part of 48 hours, and it's going to continue, Corey, right, into tomorrow?
Tomorrow, it'll be our third consecutive day with fire weather warnings, and that does include the Front Range. That National Weather Service just extended those into tomorrow. Currently, the wind gusts, so we got a little bit of a break today, just some cooler air, some little bit of higher humidities, but the winds have been very similar, 20 to 30, even some 40-mile-per-hour gusts. These are the current wind gusts here across the Denver area, up on the Front Range, northern Front Range, also gusting still into the upper 20s. So those winds will die down tonight and then return again tomorrow. So these red flag fire weather conditions go until 7 o'clock tonight, and then at 11 o'clock tomorrow, they'll restart over again. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer, and the humidities will come down just a little bit. So those fire weather conditions are just kind of lingering right in there, along with all those dry fuels. So here's the next 3 days here. We have a cooling trend, and we have a chance for precipitation each of the next 3 days, but it's really Sunday here in Denver that we have the best chance to actually pick up some significant precipitation. I'll detail the fire weather and also the rain chances coming up in just a few minutes.
Corey, thank you. The federal government has made that move now to reclassify marijuana.
Today, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche signed an order to change it from a Schedule I to a Schedule III drug. This will offer more opportunities for treatment and research. Schedule I drugs include heroin and ecstasy. This reclassification puts medical marijuana in the same category as Tylenol and codeine and ketamine. 9 News legal analyst Whitney Traylor says this will allow for much more research. He also says this will ease federal tax burdens for dispensaries who sell medical marijuana. For businesses that sell both recreational and medical, it could complicate things.
Now, one of the issues is going to be when there is a dispensary that has recreational and medical marijuana, because this didn't touch recreational marijuana. So that's going to be an issue, and I expect the IRS would probably issue some guidance on that.
The Trump administration also said it was jump-starting the process for reclassifying marijuana more broadly, setting a hearing for June. A family in Colorado is pushing for changes on how police handle crash investigations after their teenage son was killed in 2023. Team USA cyclist Magnus was hit and killed while training in Boulder County.
So the driver responsible was never tested for drugs or alcohol. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry shares with us what the White family is now proposing for more accountability.
The state capitol is where plenty of people put in plenty of long days.
Yeah, you have to spend a lot of time here.
Michael White just never thought he and his wife Jill would be some of them. In July 2023, Michael and Jill's son Magnus White was hit and killed by a driver while cycling along Highway 119 in Boulder County. Despite the severity of the crash, that driver that killed him was never tested for drugs or alcohol.
I mean, that's a question that any parent, when they lose a child, is why, what is behind, what happened to Magnus. So
it would take nearly 2 years for the White family to get answers. The driver denied being drunk, but a friend testified in court they had been drinking from 3 to 6 a.m. That driver was eventually convicted of vehicular homicide.
The committee will come to order.
On Tuesday, Michael and others spoke before the House Judiciary Committee in support of SB 26132, also known as Magnus's Law. It would require officers at the scene of a crash with serious or deadly injuries to ask the at-fault driver to voluntarily take a breathalyzer test, a question that Jill says wasn't asked in Magnus's case. Or in September 2024, when Floyd and Sandy O'Dowd were killed in a head-on crash near Wiggins. The driver responsible took a deal and was sentenced to spend the next few summers in jail, a punishment that Fantasia Lira, a daughter to the O'Dowds, doesn't believe fits the crime.
We will never know whether intoxication played a role on the night of September 15th, 2024. What we do know is this: had the driver been properly tested immediately after the collision, stronger charges could have been filed, and meaningful accountability would likely have been possible.
On Tuesday, the bill passed unanimously and will move on to the Appropriations Committee.
To speed up that process and help families.
Michael will continue to spend his days at the Capitol advocating for the bill because he believes if it passes, it's time well spent.
Exactly.
Jaleesa Irizarry, 9 News.
Jaleesa, thank you. We checked with 9 News legal expert Scott Robinson, who tells us there are no real legal concerns for a law like this because it's all voluntary. The driver does not need to agree to the breath test, and there is no punishment for refusing.